All right, I think we're live. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I apologize. There's some yard work happening in my neighborhood, and it might be a little loud. I think it's quieting down a little bit right now, but hopefully you don't hear that too loudly in the background as I'm talking. So, welcome to the August Q&A. What I do on these sessions, for those of you who are new to the group or who haven't been here in a while or who haven't listened to a Q&A before, what I like to do here is provide some additional context, go through some questions that members have. If people are troubleshooting specific cases, then I might dive into the case and talk about my recommendations. So you can use this group to ask a specific question about a case. We know that they're going to come up. It's a normal thing that happens whenever you're taking any kind of program that's offering professional development. So that's why I offer this community so that you can come in here, get your questions answered, and talk through specific cases, talk about, questions you might have about treatment goals, evaluations, tricky situations that come up. As you're trying different things in the program, troubleshooting strategies, ways to scaffold, all of those kinds of things, high level strategic planning, collaborating with your team, anything that's related to implementing the strategies in the program. That's what these Q&A sessions are for you to be able to come in here and ask questions. However, I do notice that in the summer months, the questions are a little bit lighter. So what I do not want to do is provide you with additional videos that you feel like you need to watch, because as I've had this program going for a long time, what I do is I put these Q&A sessions in Kajabi, which is where you log in to actually watch your program modules. So I do offer you the chance to get a CMH/PDH certificate so that you can use it to track your hours. So you can count these as hours for certain certificates. ASHA will accept CMHs or PDHs. So just like your course modules, you can use these Q&A sessions for PDHs. And I do provide those both in the file section of this Facebook group, as well as when you log into your members area, where you're going to go to find all of the past Q&As in addition to this Facebook group, is that you're going to go into your modules, scroll down past all the modules and trainings, and you're going to find the post that references the Facebook group. You're going to click into that and you'll be able to see all the past videos. There's a lot of them, and chances are if you read through the comments and read through the descriptions of the videos, you'll be able to find one that might relate to a question that you have. So that is a resource for you. There's a lot of videos there. I want to offer a lot of Q&A and offer video tutorials and troubleshooting specific cases, but I also don't want you to feel overwhelmed with additional videos. So in the summer months, I tend to keep these videos to more housekeeping things, because that way you have time to go and catch up on past Q&A sessions if you haven't had a chance to watch them, as well as your course modules. So I had some announcements this month for some exciting things that I've got coming up in September that I wanted to mention to you all, as well as some questions that people have been asking about how to share my materials. So what I just posted recently, and it's going to go live on the blog shortly, is a discussion, or it's really an article about how I handle my references and my reference lists. So I talk about how I write a reference list for professional presentations. I talk about how I handle reference lists for my courses or articles. So it just gives you a little bit of context, because sometimes people ask me, are your courses evidence-based? Have you done a research study on XYZ? And so I want to give people context for how I am pulling research, who I'm referencing, how I handle it, and also just give you some tips if you want to start doing presentations, if you want to start blogging or writing and sharing content, if you want to start creating your own courses, if you're interested in research. So I do talk more a lot about the professional development side than the research side, but I do talk about how I handle that. So that is the first part of the article. The second part is about how I recommend people cite my work if they are wanting to use something that they've learned in one of my courses to prepare for a professional presentation, if they're presenting at a conference, if they are training their staff, such as supervising clinical fellows, if they are wanting to collaborate with their team, if they're wanting to do a PD for their school district, if they are wanting to use some of my materials to share with parents and families. So I talked through that, but I wanted to just do a quick overview of that last section because that does come up in both Language Therapy Advanced Foundations, which is the program that we're primarily talking about in this group, as well as my other program on executive functioning, the School of Clinical Leadership, which is a separate program. So my rules, and again, I am going to link to the article where you can go and find all of that written documentation. I'm also going to add that article to your Language Therapy Advanced Foundations members area so that you know how you can ethically share my materials without violating copyright if you want to do that. Hold on a sec. Let me grab some water. Okay, so my rules for how you share, like if you're citing my dissertation, there's a specific way to reference dissertations. You want to just follow APA format. And really, I would just highly recommend for anything, look at the APA 7th edition. You will be able to find an answer and figure something out to be able to reference something, whether it is a peer-reviewed article, a formal presentation, a book, a blog post, an Instagram post. There's in the 7th edition, because APA knows that there's a lot of ways that we distribute information now. There's a lot of information in there about how you should ethically be sharing people's information. Some things that I tell people if they ask them specifics about sharing my information. So another context would be like they're interested in one of my programs and they want to share some information about, with their administration or something like that. So anything that is free online, you are welcome to share. Like if I have a blog post or a Facebook post or a podcast episode that is free, it's not behind any place where you have to pay for content and log in to get it, you can share any of that. When I was in the university setting, I would create packets. This was back before blogging was a thing. Well, it was when blogging was starting to be a thing. But anyways, what they wanted us to do when we were sharing research articles in our packets that we would give to students was share the permalink. So basically share the URL for the article, not take the article, download it, and put it in the packet for students. So this would be like if we were getting something from the library. So when in doubt, if you want to share somebody's content, this is my content, anybody's content, go to the URL. Like if they have an article online that is full text, you can share that. Again, if you're not sure if you're violating copyright, one way to do it is there a URL that you can share that's freely available to anyone? If you're sharing something that is a URL, like a blog post or something like that, typically you're okay. Again, like this is not legal advice, so full disclaimer there. You definitely want to check to look at the specifics of the article. But that is what I tell people about my content is anything that's free, you can share. Some of the things where you have to sign up for, like put your email address in and then I send it to you, I would prefer that you share the link to the sign up page to share it that way. So those are my rules for my free resources. Now, in Language Therapy Advanced Foundations, for example, you can log in and you can go in and find certain materials and download them. I know that it's really easy for people to just share PDFs without me knowing. I'm sure it happens, but I would prefer, that's for something that is something you paid for. That stuff you shouldn't be sharing. It's kind of equivalent to like photocopying copyrighted textbooks and things like that. So I would ask that you don't do that. Don't just share the PDFs from the SPOT manual. However, Where you can share the information is that there are some specific videos on YouTube that I have put in your members area under I believe it's modules 2 and 3, where I specifically have given you YouTube links for videos that you can share with parents. So those are the videos that are under the semantic feature analysis and the definition syntax. It's the last 3 videos in each section. Those are the tutorials where I give examples of how I would talk through and explain semantic feature analysis and definition syntax for kids. So I put the video in the module itself, but then I also have a YouTube link in the, like if you scroll down in the post section, that's freely available on YouTube. You can share that with, with anybody. It's a freely available YouTube video. So you can share those. The other thing that you can do is that during COVID, per member requests, since so many people were doing teletherapy, people asked if I could make some of my materials editable. So many of them are in Microsoft Word format. So all those that are in Microsoft Word format, you can download it and you could do semantic feature analysis with your students, and you and your students could collaboratively edit that document and make it your own, and then you could share it with them. So I am totally okay with you sharing those editable documents. Same goes with anything that's like a data collection sheet where you have to take the document and then use it yourself and then do something with it. That is designed for you to be sharing. So that is those editable documents. If you can edit it, you can share it. So the edited version that you have customized, that you've done with the student, maybe you could even, with something like semantic feature analysis, that's something you could do for a staff training. You could use that editable document in a staff training and cite my program, tell them where you got it from, but you could use that document to create something that is your own. And again, like anything that you're taking from those documents and then you're going to go and, stick it in a Google Doc or stick it on some slides or, recreate it in some way, I am totally okay with you sharing that. That's what those things are designed for. So, so that is where it's okay for you to be sharing things. The final thing that is kind of one of the big ones is to, if you have a membership in the program, it's just for you. We're not supposed to be sharing the login with multiple people. So that's the final thing about sharing. I will, in the article, give you some specific examples of how to do the citations if you did want to cite my course. So I'll share that in the article so that you know how to do that. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I am doing a special partnership in the month of September as part of the work that I do for the De Facto Leaders podcast. So the De Facto Leaders podcast is, I've been doing it for, April 2021 is when I launched the podcast. It used to be called Are They 18 Yet? But in November 2022, I pivoted and now it's De Facto Leaders. It was in the parenting space, but I slowly realized that I really had more clinicians that were wanting to ask me questions. So I pivoted back to really focusing on leadership, and I talk specifically about a lot of things relating to speech pathology education, K-12 reform, get into some specifics about language therapy and executive functioning, as well as a lot of other things that we need to be thinking about. From the leadership end, the direct clinical end, the collaborative teaming end, and the advocacy end. So in the month of September, as part of the network I'm a part of, we are all on the network partnering with a company called Reading is Fundamental just to support literacy. And so Reading is Fundamental is a nonprofit. They offer different professional development. They're aligned with the science of reading. Their model is based on the simple view of reading. And they also do a lot with book distribution to try to address book deserts, so areas where kids don't have access to books. So They offer a lot of resources for professionals and families, so I'm really excited to be partnering with them. So as part of this series in the month of September, I will be publishing 2 episodes per week for the first couple weeks of September. So there will actually be 7 episodes in the month of September as opposed to the normal 4. Normally I publish on Wednesday mornings, but I will be publishing on Wednesday and Friday. And all of the episodes are going to be surrounding literacy, which, yes, I know I talk about literacy all the time, but I've got some really exciting guests that I am really looking forward to sharing the topics that I am talking about. I just recorded one today about the importance of read-alouds and think-alouds in supporting language and vocabulary and how read-alouds fit in with the science of reading. I also talked to a number of people who are really involved in different advocacy efforts. So again, the addressing the book deserts, addressing dyslexia mandates, talking about specific labels for how are we using labels like dyslexia and developmental language disorder in the schools, and what is our role in the process. And I have a couple great conversations planned to talk really specifically about things like morphology and orthography and all those specific elements, addressing some of the myths about, phonics instruction is boring and we're gonna, make kids hate reading and all kinds of those things. So really pulling all of those elements in that really factor into the science of reading, but more accurately, the science of literacy, because we're also talking about spelling as well. So thinking about science of reading is not just phonics. It's all of these elements, and when we do it right and we do it effectively, all of these elements are going to be what helps support kids and really pulling it all together. So I've got 7 episodes planned. I'm really excited about it. And what I am doing from September 15th to October 15th is that I am offering 25% off of both Language Therapy Advanced Foundations and the School of Clinical Leadership. So people can just go to the checkout page and they can enter in coupon code RIF25 to get that rate between September 15th and October 15th. So you may have the question, well, for us that are already in Language Therapy Advanced Foundations, or maybe you're already in the School of Clinical Leadership, what is available for us? So what I'm offering for those of you who are already in a program is that if you refer a friend, then I will give you a $100 referral bonus. So how it would work is that if you tell your friends about tell them about the Reading is Fundamental series and tell them about the De Facto Leaders podcast, and then also if they sign up for Language Therapy Advanced Foundations or the School of Clinical Leadership and send me an email and let me know that you are the one who referred them, then I will give you a $100 referral bonus. So that's something that I'm offering to all of you who are already in the program. So again, that is between September 15th and October 15th. And again, we're partially, obviously, I would love to get more members in the program. I'm always happy to have new people come and join me, but also just wanting to get the word out about the De Facto Leaders podcast special series that we're doing in the month of September, because I'm really excited about it. Have had some really great interviews that I've recorded so far, and I'm going to be wrapping them up this week. And I think they would be beneficial to people who are wanting to learn about evidence-based practices. If you've got some people on your teams and they're, again, needing the information, or you're finding that a lot of people on your team aren't on board with certain practices and you want to spread the word, this is a great way to do it. So just tell them about the show. I would really appreciate it. And I always also appreciate if you leave me a rating or review. So that's pretty much all the announcements that I had for this month. As always, I know that things start to pick up a little bit when people are starting the school year. So if you have a question about a specific case, if you are stuck on a module, if you are doing an evaluation and you're not sure what tests or assessment tools, I should more accurately say, or methods, and you want to know how to get a good, thorough evaluation, or you need help with troubleshooting some treatment goals, or maybe you're trying to work with your team and people have different thoughts about recommendations. Any of those things that come up surrounding your language therapy practice relating to this program, post them in the group. Let me know what's going on, and I will come in here during the Q&A and I will break it down for you and give you specific recommendations on your case. The final thing is that I would love to know if people are interested in doing a live Q&A session on Zoom instead of Facebook, where you can actually talk to me. I put some feelers out about it last year, and there were a few responses, but I wanted to put it out there again and let you know that that is still an option for you. So if enough people request it, it's definitely something that I can do. I know that a lot of people really like this format where we can just, like, you can submit your questions, you can listen to them later. The asynchronous format works really well for a lot of people because we're in all different time zones. But like I said, if enough people would like a live call to talk to me, I'm happy to do that as well. And, schedule a few of those periodically, throughout the year. So thanks again, everybody. Because we mostly talked about, well, you know what I can do a really, we went about 20 minutes, so we can do a CMH certificate for that 15-minute time block for today. So I'll be uploading that shortly. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and I will see you in September.